What's up, guys? I'm trying to film a video on game of skate etiquette today. I just feel like there's a couple little punch list items that we can go over to like make your games of skate a little more enjoyable and how to ask somebody to have a better game of skate. Maybe I should call this how to have a better game of skate. So there's a couple little points I wrote down that I was just kind of thinking about. And these are just things I thought about when I watch like the best people play skate. When I see somebody, I'm gonna bring up Tom Asta. I watched his game of skate recently on Dumb Data's channel, and I just was like, man, Tom Asta is who you should aspire to skate like. Not necessarily skate like. I don't. Everybody has their own style. I don't want to say that, but he is like a real gentleman when it comes to like game of skate. Like he's just like chill and just like will try whatever, but he kind of follows like the OG game of skate formula, and that's just something I love, and I think something that we should bring back a little bit. So I wanted to kind of go over a few points that I wrote down on just how to have a better game of skate. So the first point that I wrote down is just to ask somebody on your own skill level. And I mean, obviously you want to like skate your best, and it's okay to challenge somebody who's a little out of your skill range, but try and like when you're gonna ask somebody at the park, especially someone you don't know, watch them skate for a minute and make sure they are actually skating flat ground or like to skate flat ground before you ask them. Yeah, just make sure like if you can't do, let's just say you can't kickflip or heel flip, and you just saw that guy do like a tray and then a varial heel on the hip or something, maybe you should not ask that person to play a game of skate because it's not going to be the most fun for you. Ask somebody who's on your skill level, and same goes if you're a good skater. You don't want to ask somebody who's struggling just to kick their ass. Like that's not going to be fun. That's not going to be a fun game for either of you. It's probably going to be a fast game. Like, and I think that's like the main thing is just to ask somebody on your skill level. Like it's going to lead to a fun game. Like, because if you're a new skater, you could play a game of skate with another new skater and do a bunch of different 180s, and that can be challenging and fun, and like different shove-its and stuff, and have a really fun game of skate that way. Whereas if you ask somebody who's already past that point, that's not going to be very enjoyable for them or very challenging. So that's just kind of my first point. I think to just have a better game of skate is ask somebody on your skill level. All right. My second point is just to try for a long game of skate. I drew out a whole trick map I'm going to kind of talk about in a minute. And just kind of like, by going for a long game of skate, I mean, go through, like especially if you're an advanced skater, for me, this is like the most fun, is go through the straight eight, try and do every 180 flip, every frontside flip, like just try and have a long game of skate. I feel like sometimes game of skates end up being like, somebody will approach you and they just want to win, so they're just going to, instead of going through, like if you watch Tom Asta skate, he's going to do kick flip, heel flip, tray flip, and just kind of build up the game of skate intensity. And that's like what's really fun. But sometimes people will approach and play skate, and then it'll just be immediately like something random. Be like, dude, nollie laser out the gate, or front shove late flip out the gate. And I don't have a problem with any of those tricks, or even pressure flips or double flips. Like, I don't like to do them very much, but I don't have a problem with them in principle. I just think maybe you should save your death blows till the end, I just see, yeah, that's like kind of my third point, is just like second point is have a long game of skate. Just try and do as many tricks as you can before going to the death blow type tricks, which is like, everybody loves those, but they hit a little harder when you've been having a long game of skate. Everybody's been landing tricks back and forth, and it's just got like a good buildup. And then the third point is just like save the quote unquote illegal tricks for the end of the game. Like when somebody's at tee, that's when you want to bust out the weird ass tricks. That's when you want to do your disco flips, your front side double flips, your impossibles, like cancel flips, whatever weird stuff. That's when to do it, is at the end when you guys have like kind of exhausted everything else you can do. That's like the time. So I was talking about that a little earlier. Some people just do that a little too early, and it can just kind of like make the game not as fun when, like most people don't know how to do front shove late flips, or, a nollie pressure flip or something. Like, if somebody just starts doing those right away, it just feels like they're not trying to have a game of skate. They're only trying to win. And it's like, dude, we are at the park for fun. like we don't need to just go for the throat. So yeah, that's like kind of one point. Um, Another thing is just like when you have a game of skate, have fun, but also take it seriously. And like, I think it's good to just like call yourself, be like, there's always that infamous game of skate of like Seva calling himself out in the barracks to redo a trick that he landed sketchy and then he ends up missing it. But anyways, like that's just so honorable and like to just try and like really skate your best. Like the game of skate is like a tool to help you hone in your flat ground in a fun way besides just like doing a bunch of flip tricks by yourself with headphones in or whatever. Like it's a tool to like get better at skating. So, if you land sketchy, redo it. If call it out. And I think you should try to call yourself out more than you should try to call somebody else out. Like, obviously, if the person you're playing against does something crazy, like, you could be like, you gotta redo that for sure. But I always try and call myself out more than the other person I'm playing, just to hold myself to that standard and try and get my flip tricks dialed in like the way I want them to be. And then the last point I kind of have before I go into like going over this trick map is just to try and not like spin, especially if you're an advanced skater. If you're a beginner skater, ignore this, but if you're an advanced skater, don't do every single 180 and then every single shove it in a game of skate. I feel like sometimes that just makes it too drawn out, and when neither of you are gonna miss that. I don't remember the last time I missed a front 180. It's like it's just not very fun. It's like maybe you do like 3 180s or like 3 shove-its, and then just go ahead and start getting into the more difficult tricks, because I think I've seen a few games and it's kind of just pointless. Like, why are you doing front shove or front shoves, nollie shove? Like, that's kind of just unnecessary. But like I said, if you're a beginner skater, that's a great way to get your fundamentals of skating every stance, is to try and do every 180 and shove. But if you're an advanced skater, maybe skip those and just go ahead and just do a couple to warm up and then just get into the big spins and 180 flips and stuff. So that kind of brings up my final thing I'm going to pull up. I drew out like a little map, so I'm going to show you guys that real quick and kind of talk a little more. All right, so here's like kind of the trick map I was talking about, and I think this is kind of a good format to follow for a game of skate. So it's a lot to look at immediately. But the way it kind of breaks down is you have obviously your ollie and then everything expands out. So your easiest tricks are in the center and then your hardest tricks are all the way out. So this is kind of just building on the point I was saying about, trying to exhaust all your tricks before you go into just like random pressure flips and double flips and stuff. I think this is kind of a format to have a great game of skate. So I kind of talked about before, like you have your 180s and your shove-its, and then those can build out. If you're an advanced skater, maybe skip those, do a couple of them for fun. But then you have, heel flip, kick flip. I think doing the straight 8, especially if you're an advanced skater, is such a fun way to do, just build a game. Like, can you do every single heel flip, kick flip, every stance without missing? Like, that's a real challenge in itself. But then to build on that, like if you watch really great skaters play a game of skate, this is kind of how they do it. So they would go first do maybe kick flip, heel flip every stance, and then you're going to get into all the 180 flips. So backside heel, backside flip, big spins, frontside flip, frontside heel, front big spin. Do all of those in every stance. Like that in and of itself is very difficult. I mean, we've all seen the games of skate where they can do all of those and they're just crazy. You're like, dude, how can these guys do all of these? And then kind of the same thing with the varial flips, like do varial flip, inward heel, varial flip, hard flip, every stance. And I would say if you can do all of those tricks in every stance, like you're really on like almost a professional skating level at game of skate. I would probably add tray flip in there too. Tray flip every stance is pretty, it's obviously a hard trick to do. Like switch tray is pretty tough, but also it's not that crazy compared to some of the other tricks on this list. So like, I just think saving the crazy tricks because there's just so much to do based on just the ollie based tricks. These are all ollie based tricks, no pressure flips or anything. And if you look on here, like it even builds out from, you know, if you've done every single 180 flip or just most of them even, like you can go out and start doing big flips and backside big spin heel flips. Like that's just an insane trick. Or you could take the 360 and do, you know, a gazelle or a frontside 360 heel, frontside 360 flip. Like these are the like top tier tricks to me that aren't illegal but are just like insanely difficult. Like 90% of skaters can't do the tricks on some of the tricks on this list, you know. 360 inward heel flips, for example, that might be illegal, to be honest. Same with the 360 hard flip, but nonetheless pretty insane. If you can do that, that's to me a little bit better than doing just like a triple flip. You know, if you can do a 360 inward heel, I'm gonna be like, holy shit, I've never even seen somebody do that in person, to be honest. Same with the 360 yard flip. So I just think like there's just so many tricks like this. I kind of wrote it down. Obviously you see there's 34 tricks on this map, 35 if you count the ollie. And if you can just try and do these in every single stance, that's 136 unique tricks. Like, that's just what I mean. There's just so much to do without getting into the crazy stuff. And I just think this is the format to have a great game of skate. Like, try and just do as many of these as you can before, like, obviously, at some point, you're going to run out. I certainly cannot do every trick on this list. I can, you know, do a good chunk of them, but in a lot of stances. But yeah, this is just like how I think about it. I mean, I'm very curious to know what you guys think about this. Like, is this how you try to play a game of skate? Like, I don't know. For me, this is a lot of fun and it's a real challenge. This is the way I look at it. Even though there's a ton of tricks I've never even attempted on here, like I've never tried to do a frontside 360 flip. I don't know if I ever will land a frontside 360 flip. Pretty insane trick. But yeah, this is just kind of what I think of would be the ideal game of skate, not only to play, but also to watch. Like if I'm watching a battle at the barracks, I want to see almost all of these tricks in every stance before I see some crazy shit. I mean, these are crazy for sure, but I mean, like, by crazy shit, I mean just like pressures and double flips. Like, that's like a little bit more on like a fringe side of skating, I guess you would say. Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of just drew this out. This is the way I think about playing a game of skate. All right, quick recap. Kind of covered a lot. I did a lot of talking in this video. My ankle's kind of hurt right now, so I couldn't really skate. So hopefully next video I'll be able to skate and film some actual skating and not just talking. And like I said, I might be interested to try and see how many of those tricks I can do. At some point, some of those are almost entire videos, but yeah, quick recap. Point 1, skate, try to ask somebody on your own skill level. Point 2 is try and have the longest game you can have before just doing death blows. Point 3 is save illegal tricks for the end of the game. Point 4 is to try and land as clean as you can. Point 5, skate for fun, take it serious. And then number 6, kind of optional, is don't spend too much time on the basics. Yeah, let me know if you guys try and, you know, practice any of these tips, or, you know, have experienced like some random kid asking you to play skate and like being really cocky and then you just like smoke them. Like I've had that happen a few times. It's kind of funny, but, you know, also like kind of an inconvenience a little bit. But yeah, let me know your guys' craziest like game of skate story. I'd love to hear that. Just, you know, somebody who can't ollie, like acting like they can beat you or something, just without even seeing you skate. Or I don't know, just I've had games of skate too where people just immediately just do like really crazy tricks like pressure flips and front shove late flips and just like kick your ass even though maybe like they can't even kick flip, you know. So I've seen all types of games of skate. So I want to hear some game of skate stories. So definitely let me know in the comments, guys, and hopefully be back next week with another video.